Wait, did I just hear my own son say, "Pretend we're not home"? It was Christmas Eve, the snow was soft, the street was quiet, and my heart was full. I stood at my son Daniel's front door with a red scarf around my neck and a small brown suitcase in my hand. Inside that suitcase was a secret that could change our whole family's life. $32 million. Not in cash, of course, but in a neat white envelope with a gold stamp from the bank. I had won it fair and square from a charity drawing that I had joined for fun, and I had worked with the bank to make it into a gift that would help every child and grandchild. College, homes, health, and even a little park in our town. It was the biggest surprise I had ever planned. I lifted my hand to knock, smiling already, and that was when I heard it. Voices just behind the door. They were whispering and I could hear them clearly because the hall inside that house always made sounds bounce. I knew that hall well. I had painted it yellow with my son years ago. "Pretend we're not home," a voice said. It sounded like Daniel, tired, upset, and sharp. Another voice answered in a small rush. It sounded like his wife, Emma. "But it is Christmas Eve. Please, not tonight," Daniel said. "Just be quiet." The porch light hummed, the bell button looked at me like a little eye, and my smile fell. My fingers shook. My chest felt hot, then cold. I stood very still. The air smelled like pine and cinnamon, sweet and painful at the same time. I could hear the television inside. A cartoon song. I could also hear my granddaughter, Lily, giggle, then stop when someone hushed her. I held my breath. I set my hand down. I did not ring. I did not knock. The red scarf felt heavy. The suitcase handle felt like a stone. I swallowed and turned away from the door. I walked down the steps very slowly at first, then a little faster. The snow cried under my shoes. I looked back once at the window, and I thought I saw a shadow move, but no one waved, no one called my name. So I left. I walked back to the dark street. I hugged the little suitcase to my chest. A car drove past with music, a cheerful song I had loved as a girl. It felt like a joke. I reached the gate and pushed it open. The latch squeaked, loud in the cold night. I stepped out and the gate clanged shut behind me like a final word. I looked down at the suitcase and spoke to it as if it were a friend. "We are going home," I whispered. "We will keep our surprise until someone is ready for it." I took one more step, and suddenly I heard a small voice on the wind. "Grandma, wait." Then there was the quick patter of feet, the slam of the door, and the squeal of tires on the icy road right beside me. The night held its breath. Earlier that morning, I had woken up with a song in my head and a list in my pocket. My name is Margaret, but everyone in town calls me Maggie. I am the grandmother who always carries peppermint candy in her purse and who always has a story about a time when phones had tails and milk came to your door in glass bottles. I live in a small blue house at the end of Maple Street, where the maple tree really is the biggest and shade falls like a blanket in summer. I have lived there since Daniel was a boy. He used to ride his red bicycle in circles in the driveway and laugh when he fell into the soft grass. I still keep that bicycle in the shed. It is rusted and bright at the same time, like my memories. When the letter from the charity came, I thought it was a mistake. I had given $10 to a holiday raffle for the hospital. I like to help where I can. I know the nurses there. They once helped me when I slipped on ice. The letter said I had won the grand prize. $32 million, set aside by a wealthy donor who had no family and wanted to bless someone kind. It sounded like a fairy tale. The bank manager, Mr. Brooks, sat me down, gave me tea, and said it 3 times to make sure I understood. We made a plan that fit the rules. We would prepare a gift that would be safe and smart. I said I wanted to help my family first and my town next. He smiled and wrote it all down. For 2 weeks I kept the secret. I wanted to give it on Christmas Eve, like a story in a book. I wrapped small gifts for everyone, sweet and simple things, and I tucked the big surprise into a plain white envelope and then into my little suitcase. I touched it and said a prayer for wisdom. Money can help, but it can also hurt if we let it rule our hearts. I promised myself that I would use it for love and not for pride. In the afternoon I baked ginger cookies. My kitchen smelled like sugar and spice. I wore my old green sweater with a candy cane pin. I whispered the names of my grandchildren while the cookies cooled. Lily, who draws cats with crowns. Ben, who wants to be a pilot. Tom, who talks like a tiny teacher and likes to line up his toy cars in a perfect row. I put the cookies in a tin with a red ribbon. I added a small note that said, "Love first, money second." I smiled at my own little joke. I remember when Daniel was young and we did not have much. I remember counting coins and making soup last 2 days, and I remember feeling rich anyway when he hugged me and called me the bravest mom. When he grew up, we grew apart a little. He married Emma and moved to the big brick house with the yellow hall. He was busy with work, and I tried not to fuss. I wanted to be welcome, not a weight. We still had Sunday dinners sometimes. We still laughed. But this last month he had been quiet on the phone. He said he was tired. He said work was hard. He said something about bills. I told him I loved him. He said he loved me too. So I walked through the town that evening with my scarf and suitcase and cookie tin. The streetlights made halos on the snow. People waved and wished me Merry Christmas. I wished them Merry Christmas back. I passed the park and thought about building a new playground with a slide that shines and a swing that squeaks less. I passed the church and thought about new books for the library, new coats for the coat drive, and maybe new music stands for the school band. The money felt like a key that could open many doors. I reached my son's house just as the sky turned pink and blue like a shell. I stood on the porch, took a big breath, and saw my reflection in the door glass. My red scarf made my cheeks look rosy. I felt like a girl of 16, about to ring, about to shout surprise. I could already see Lily's face, round and bright. I could hear the soft thank you from Emma, who always tried to keep peace. I could feel Daniel's strong hug. In my mind, I placed the envelope on the kitchen table and told them the plan. College paid for, mortgage eased, a family trip, savings for emergencies, a gift to the hospital in our family name. It would be a new chapter, one that we would write together. Then I heard the voices. Pretend we're not home. I felt the words like a small stone thrown at a window. Not enough to break it, but enough to make a crack. I waited for someone to say it was a joke. No one did. I waited for a laugh. There was no laugh. My chest filled with air that felt hard to swallow. I did not want to cry on the porch like a child. So I stood very straight, squeezed the suitcase handle, and decided to go. It is a strange thing to hold joy in one hand and hurt in the other. Joy felt warm, like cocoa. Hurt felt cold, like the metal rail under my glove. I stepped down each stair and named a good thing to keep my heart steady. Snow is pretty. Lights are lovely. I am loved by God. I am alive. I can choose kindness. I can keep my surprise. I can wait for the right time. When the gate closed behind me, I had a small thought that maybe I had not heard right. Perhaps Daniel had been talking to the dog. They sometimes played a game on the couch and called it the quiet game. Perhaps he was on the phone with a pushy salesman. Perhaps. But I had heard my name the night before on the phone, and it had sounded tired. Mom might pop in, Emma had said. We have so much to do. Daniel had sighed and said, I just cannot, not this year. He had not known I heard because he thought the line had clicked off. It had not. I had told myself it was stress and that a surprise would soften it. I reached the sidewalk and looked up at the sky that was now a deep blue. I thought about going home, making tea, and writing a letter instead of giving a speech. Sometimes letters are easier to hear. I started to turn the corner when I felt the tug of small hands and heard the small voice. Grandma, wait. I spun around and saw Lily in her pink slippers, her hair wild like a cloud, her eyes wide. She must have slipped past someone and run out without a coat. Snowflakes stuck to her lashes. She looked like a tiny snow angel. She ran down the path, and her foot hit a patch of ice. At the same time, a car came fast down the street, tires sliding, music thumping. The driver hit the brakes. The wheels screamed on the ice. The car skidded toward the gate. I dropped the suitcase. The latch burst open and the envelope slid out and flashed white in the streetlight like a frightened bird. Lily, I screamed. Everything seemed to slow, but my heart beat fast. I jumped forward with my arms out. I could feel the cold air bite my throat. I could hear someone behind me shout my name. I could see the driver's eyes wide behind the glass. The car fishtailed, the back end swinging out, the front end sliding in a long slow line toward the little girl I loved. I pushed my feet hard into the snow and reached for Lily. She reached back, her hands small and shaking. Her fingers brushed mine. Time snapped back to its proper speed. The car's bumper kissed the gate with a crunch. The gate jolted, threw up a spray of ice, and sprang open. The open gate flew toward us like a big wooden mouth. I grabbed Lily around the waist and pulled, and the gate whooshed past us and slammed into the snowbank with a deep thud. We fell together into the soft white. I held her close. Her heart hammered against my arm. For a second there was only the sound of our breathing. Then voices exploded from the porch. The door banged open. Feet stormed down the steps. Daniel shouted. Emma cried. The driver yelled, I am sorry, my brakes, the ice, I am sorry. I sat up and looked at Lily's face. She was pale with pink circles on her cheeks. She blinked at me. Then she smiled a shaky smile and said, Grandma, I saw you. I wanted to hug you. I hugged her and closed my eyes. My hands were still shaking. I could smell her hair, warm and sweet like apples. I forgot about the envelope for a heartbeat. I forgot about the words at the door. I remembered only this small life in my arms and the way love can be stronger than fear. When I opened my eyes, I saw the white envelope lying open on the road, pressed into the snow like a flag. The gold stamp from the bank glinted under the streetlight. Daniel saw it too. He stopped in the middle of the path as if he had run into a wall. He stared at the envelope, then at the little brown suitcase, then at me. His face changed from fear to surprise to something I could not read. He took one slow step toward the envelope. The driver reached for it first, then pulled his hand back as if it burned. This looks important, he said in a small voice. Emma reached us, knelt, and pulled Lily into her arms. My baby, she whispered. My brave girl. Then she looked at me with wet eyes. Her lips trembled. Maggie, are you hurt? Before I could answer, Daniel finally found his voice. It cracked like ice. Mom, he said, what is that envelope, and why were you leaving without knocking? I looked at him, at the open door behind him, at the warm light pouring out onto the snow, and I felt the two halves of my heart pull against each other. Love pulled one way, hurt pulled the other. The lesson I had taught Daniel when he was small whispered in my ear. Listen first. Speak kindly. Choose truth. I stood up slowly. I brushed the snow from my coat. I picked up the little suitcase. I walked to the edge of the road and reached for the envelope. My fingers touched the cold paper, and I lifted it with care. I turned, held it against my chest, and met my son's eyes. Daniel, I said, my voice steady and soft. Inside this envelope is a surprise I wanted to give you tonight. I came to say Merry Christmas and to bring a gift. But from the door I heard, pretend we are not home. So I left and took the $32 million surprise back with me. Everyone went still. Even the street seemed to stop moving. The driver's eyes grew round as plates. Emma gasped. Daniel's mouth opened and closed like he had forgotten how to make words. Lily looked at me, then at the envelope, then at her father. Snow fell in tiny sparkles between us like quiet stars. In that frozen breath of time, a new sound rose from the end of the street, deep and low. A second car turned the corner too fast for the icy road. Its headlights swung toward us, bright as moons. The first driver shouted a warning. The second car slipped, slid, and skidded straight toward the open gate and the small group of people standing under the porch light. The headlights washed over Daniel's face. He turned toward the danger, eyes wide. I stepped forward without thinking, the envelope still pressed to my heart, and the night split open again with a scream of metal and the thunder of braking tires as the second car came rushing in. The second car slides toward us like a big metal fish on ice. Its lights are so bright that the whole yard looks like day. Emma pulls Lily close. The first driver throws up his hands and shouts, "Move." Daniel steps in front of us without thinking. I clutch the white envelope to my chest. The world is a rush of light and sound. I do not have time to be afraid. I grab Emma's sleeve. Back, I say. We jump to the side. The car skids past the open gate, misses the porch by a breath, hits the snowbank, and stops with a loud hiss. The engine coughs and goes quiet. Steam rises from the hood like a white ghost. For a moment no one speaks. We can only hear our fast breathing and the tiny tick-tick-tick of cooling metal. The driver puts his hands on the wheel and drops his head. He looks very young. He looks like a boy who just learned a hard lesson. He opens the door, steps out, and slips on the ice. He catches the door with both hands and stares at us with wide eyes. "I am sorry," he says. "I did not see the ice at the corner." "It is okay," I say, though my heart still beats like a drum. "We are safe." Daniel looks at me, then at Emma and Lily, and then at the white envelope that I hold. His face is pale. "Mom," he says, quiet and slow, "come inside. Please." I nod. The first driver runs to help the second driver move the car. They talk about calling a tow truck. The porch light is warm. The door stands open like a mouth that wants to say sorry. We step up the stairs. Snow falls off our boots in soft clumps. Lily's slippers are wet, so I lift her into my arms. She wraps her arms around my neck and hides her face in my coat. Inside the house, the yellow hall looks the same and also not the same. There is a string of paper snowflakes on the wall. There are drawings stuck to the fridge. The cartoon song is still playing on the television in the living room. It feels strange to walk in after what happened at the door. I stand on the rug and breathe in the smell of cinnamon and pine and a little bit of shoe polish. It smells like a family Christmas. Emma takes Lily to change her slippers. "Tom and Ben are upstairs," she says. "They were wrapping something. They did not see the cars." Her voice shakes a little. She kisses Lily's hair and goes down the hall. Daniel closes the door and locks it, like he wants to keep the cold and danger out. He turns to me. He is a tall man, but now he looks small, like my boy years ago when he broke a window with a ball and came to tell me. He opens his mouth and no sound comes out. He rubs his hand over his face. Then he tries again. "Mom," he says, "I am ashamed. I am so sorry. I said those words at the door. I was wrong. I was tired and angry and I spoke without kindness. I did not know you were there." I set the little suitcase on the bench by the hall tree. I keep the white envelope in my hand. I look at my son and I see the boy and the man at the same time. I feel the hurt, but I also feel the love that never left. I speak very slowly so I can choose soft words. "I heard the words," I say. "They cut me, so I started to leave. But now we are here and we are safe, and I will listen." He nods like he is grateful to be allowed to talk. "Work has been hard," he says. "Bills have grown. I lost a big client 2 weeks ago. I did not tell you because I did not want to worry you at Christmas." Everything felt heavy. When Emma said you might come, I felt like I had failed you. I did not want you to see a messy house and a tired father. I thought one quiet night would help me make a plan. I said the wrong thing at the door. I am sorry. I watch his face. There are tiny lines at the corners of his eyes that I do not remember from last year. I think about soup that lasts 2 days and money that stretches like a rubber band. I think about how pride can make us hide when we need help most. I touch his arm. "Daniel," I say, "thank you for telling the truth. Tired hearts make sharp mouths. You can be tired and still choose kind words. You forgot for a moment. We all forget sometimes. We can remember again." His eyes fill with tears. He does not want to cry. He gives a small laugh that sounds like a hiccup. "I do not deserve you, Mom." "No one has to deserve love," I say. "We give it." Lily runs back in with dry socks. She crawls on the rug and points at the cookie tin I brought. "Are those ginger cookies?" she asks. "Yes," I say. "Your favorite." I open the tin. The smell of ginger and sugar floats up like a friendly hand. I give her one. She bites it and hums a happy little song. The normal sound is a balm to my heart. Emma comes back with a blanket and drapes it around my shoulders. "Maggie," she says, "I am sorry for what you heard. I should have told Daniel to open the door anyway. I should have opened it myself." She looks at the white envelope like it is a star. "Did you really say $32 million? Is that true?" I nod. "It is a bank paper," I say. "It is a gift that could help all of us, and others too. I was going to tell you at the kitchen table with Coco. I had a little speech. It was a good speech. I practiced it in the mirror. I smile at my own silliness. It makes Emma smile too. Daniel stares at the envelope again. He lifts his hands and then drops them. I feel sick, he says. I almost slammed a door on the biggest blessing of our lives. Blessings do not break when we treat them wrong one time, I say. But they do ask us to grow up. Money is a big tool. We must use it with wise hearts. I hold up the envelope. I will tell you the plan. But first, I want to sit and catch my breath. We move to the living room. The tree stands by the window with white lights and red balls. The angel on top leans a little to the left. I always want to fix it, but I like that it is not perfect. Life is not perfect either. We sit. I put the envelope on my lap and keep a hand on it. I do not want it to slip again. Where are Tom and Ben? I ask. Here, says a small voice. Two boys peek around the corner. Tom has a piece of ribbon stuck in his hair. Ben holds a roll of tape. They look at me and then at their father and mother, as if they can feel the strange air. Then they both run to me at once and hug my knees. Grandma, Ben says, we made you a card with glitter. It is beautiful, I say, though I have not seen it yet. I can tell by your sparkly hands. They laugh. The room feels lighter. I tell them the story of the cookie tin and how one ginger man tried to run away. They giggle at the silly voice I use for the cookie. Emma brings cocoa. Daniel sits forward with his hands clasped as if he is praying. Mom, he says, what is the plan? I take a breath. I think of the bank office, the tea, the careful notes, the prayer I said for wisdom. I think of my promise to put love first. I look at each face in turn, so they will know this gift is for all, not just one. The plan is simple, I say. I want us to be free of fear and full of purpose. The bank has set this so that taxes are handled and we are safe. First, we clear any debt that will sink us. Not fancy debt, the heavy kind that keeps you up at night. Then we make a college fund for Lily, Tom, and Ben. Then we put a strong roof over your heads. If the house needs help, we give it. If you must move to a smaller place to breathe easier, we help with that. We set aside a health fund for emergencies so no one has to choose between a doctor and bills. We give a gift to the hospital and the school. We fix the park so swings do not squeak so much. We make a small family fund for gentle dreams, like music lessons or a trip to see the sea. And we make a rule that no one can demand this money with loud voices. We speak soft. We plan. We keep our hearts clean. The room is very quiet. Emma's eyes are bright. Daniel lets out a long breath he may have been holding all month. Lily leans her head on my shoulder. Tom picks up a cookie crumb and lines it up with other crumbs as if they are toy cars. Ben's mouth makes an O. Can we still give to people who need help? Lily asks. Yes, I say. That is part of the plan. We bless others in simple ways. Warm coats, hot meals, books. That is joy money. Daniel swallows. Mom, I do not know what to say. You can say thank you, I say. And you can say you will try to use it well. That is enough. He nods. Thank you. I will try. A soft knock comes at the door. Then another. We all turn our heads. The first driver peeks in. Sorry, he says. We called the tow truck. It will be here in 10 minutes. Do you need us to move our cars so you can get out if you need to? We are fine, Daniel says. Thank you. The driver nods and shuts the door. His kind face makes the room feel safer again. I pick up the envelope and tap it gently. I will put this in my bag, I say. Then we can have cocoa and talk about details. I stand up and walk back to the hall bench where my little suitcase rests. I set the envelope on the bench for a moment to open the suitcase. The latch is a bit stiff. I press it and it sticks. I press harder. It pops open with a little jump. Just then a sharp blast of wind slips down the chimney and out the fireplace. It pushes a draft through the hall. The door is closed, but the old house has tiny gaps that let the winter whisper inside. The draft lifts the edge of the white envelope like a bird's wing. I look up in time to see it slide off the bench. It lands on the floor and scoots along toward the little gap at the bottom of the door where the mat is thin. My heart flips. I reach for it. I grab the corner. The paper rubs under my fingers. I have it. Emma laughs softly from the living room. The house is trying to read the letter, she says. I smile and tuck the envelope into the suitcase under a stack of knitted scarves. I snap the latch twice to be sure. Then I set the case back on the bench. Safe, I say, but the word is hardly out of my mouth when another knock rattles the door. This time it is not soft. It is loud and hard. 3 sharp knocks. Boom, boom, boom. We all jump. Daniel looks at me, then at the door. Who is it? He calls. A voice answers. It is a man's voice, low and tight. Daniel Hale, the voice says. It is Mr. Pike from the office. We need to talk. It cannot wait. I see Daniel's face change. The color drains from his cheeks. He stands very still. He knows this man. He does not want to open the door. Emma puts a hand on his arm. What is it? She asks. Daniel swallows. He leans close and whispers. He is the one with the client we lost. He thinks I broke a deal. He says I owe a penalty. He has been calling all week. The voice at the door speaks again, louder. Daniel, open up. I see your car. I am not leaving. The children look at their father. Lily bites her lip. Tom squeezes Ben's hand. The happy air of cookies and cocoa turns tight again. My heart sinks for my son. This is the heavy debt that keeps you up at night. It has followed him to Christmas Eve. Daniel opens the door a crack and steps onto the porch. Cold air slips in. He shuts the door behind him so the children do not hear. But we can hear anyway. The house makes sounds carry. Mr. Pike, Daniel says, his voice calm but thin. It is Christmas Eve. I know, Mr. Pike says. Your phone is off. You missed our meeting. The penalty is due by the end of the year. If we do not sort it, it will affect your license. Do you hear me? Your license. I hear you, Daniel says. Please lower your voice. My children are inside. I take a step toward the door. Emma catches my eye. She shakes her head once, small. Let Daniel stand. Let him try. I stop and breathe. If you have the money, we can settle now, Mr. Pike says. We can sign a promise tonight. I do not have it, Daniel says. Not tonight. But you will, Mr. Pike says. You will get it, Daniel. I do not know from where, but you will. I am waiting. I feel the suitcase heavy on the bench behind me. I think of the plan. I think of the rule about loud voices. I think of wisdom. I press my hand flat on the suitcase lid. The latch is firm under my palm. The door opens again. Daniel steps inside, his face tight. Mr. Pike stays on the porch. He looks past Daniel's shoulder and sees me. His eyes pause on the little suitcase. They slide to the white cookie tin. They slide back to my case. He tries to look polite, but I can see the quick math in his eyes. He has heard the word money tonight from someone on the street. Maybe the tow truck driver. Maybe the young man who almost crashed. News flies fast on a quiet night. Good evening, he says to me, too smooth. I am Mr. Pike. I am sorry to drop by. This is a work matter. Good evening, I say. I keep my voice warm and firm, like soup on a cold day. We are with family right now. He nods, but his eyes do not move from the suitcase. He takes one step inside, only his shoe tip over the sill. I will be quick, he says. Daniel, if you have any means to settle, even a proof of funds, I can. Sir, I say, still warm and firm, this is not the time. Come back after Christmas. We will not talk money at my granddaughter's feet. He looks at Lily, who stares back at him like a small cat. He clears his throat, steps back, and lifts his hands. All right, he says. But this cannot wait long. We know, Daniel says. Mr. Pike turns to go. Then it happens very fast. A new gust of wind swings across the porch as he opens the outer storm door wider. The draft rushes down the hall again. It snakes around my ankles and up to the bench. It finds the tiny gap at the edge of the suitcase where the latch did not quite catch on one side because my glove was in the way. I hear a tiny click. The lid lifts the smallest bit. The white envelope inside tilts up like a shy bird peeking out. I move toward it. My hand reaches. At that same second, Mr. Pike, with a sudden change of mind, turns back and steps forward again. His elbow bumps the hall tree. The hall tree bumps the bench. The bench jolts. The suitcase lid pops open the rest of the way. The white envelope jumps, slides, and shoots across the smooth wood like a sled. No, I whisper. The envelope slips off the bench, lands on the rug, and skims along as the draft pushes it. It heads straight for the door where the storm air sucks it like a breath. Mr. Pike and I both lunge at once. My fingers brush the corner. His hand bumps mine. The paper flips and sails out through the small space between the door and the frame, out into the cold night. We all cry out. Daniel leaps forward. Emma grabs Tom and Ben so they do not run. Lily squeals. I push past Mr. Pike and step onto the porch. The envelope is in the air like a white moth. The wind lifts it above the porch rail, then drops it, then lifts it again. It blows toward the driveway where the second car still sits with steam like this morning's fog. The tow truck turns the corner at that moment with a rumble. Its big headlights wash the yard in new light. The envelope dances in the glare. The tow truck rolls closer. Its front bumper is like a shining jaw. The envelope dips in front of it. My heart jumps into my throat. If the paper goes under those tires, it will be soaked and torn. If it slides into the street, it could be gone. That envelope holds our plan and the careful way to draw the funds. It is not cash, but it is still a key. We need that key. I do not think. I run. I hear Emma shout my name. I hear Daniel say, "Mom, careful." My boots hit the icy steps. I grab the rail with one hand. I leap the last 2 steps to the path. The cold bites my nose. The wind slaps my cheeks. My red scarf flies behind me like a small flag. I am not young, but I am not weak. I have chased toddlers and buses. I can chase an envelope. I run toward the silver sheet of paper that rides the air like a trick bird. It dips. It rises. It lands for a second on the hood of the second car, sticks, then slides. It falls. I reach. The tow truck horn blasts. The driver sees me and hits the brakes. The truck slides on the ice, heavy and loud, and the world fills again with the scream of tires and the long, hard scrape of metal against hard snow. I dive for the envelope. My fingers close on the corner. The edge cuts my skin like a paper bite. I hold on. The wind tries to take it back. I pull and roll to the side. The tow truck slides past me with inches to spare. It plows into the snowbank with a deep, shaking thud that rattles my teeth. A cloud of white powder explodes over my head. For a moment I am inside a cold, silent world of ice and light. I cough and blink. The paper is in my fist. I did not let go. When the snow dust settles, I hear many sounds at once. Emma calling, Maggie. Tom crying. Ben asking, "Is Grandma okay?" Lily's small prayer voice saying, "Please, please, please." Daniel's feet thumping on the steps. The tow truck driver swearing softly and then saying, "Are you hurt, ma'am?" I stand slowly. My knees shake. I hold the envelope high so they can see it. "I have it," I say. My voice is shaky but strong enough. Daniel reaches me and puts his hands on my shoulders. "Mom," he says, "do not make me older in one night." "I had to catch the bird," I say. I smile to show him I am really okay. He laughs and cries at the same time. He pulls me into a hug. Emma wraps her arms around us both. The children join like little magnets. For a second we are one warm ball of family in the cold night, with the tow truck steaming and the porch light shining and the world held together by love and a paper envelope. We walk back to the porch. Mr. Pike stands there, eyes wide, face pale. He looks like a man who just watched someone save a life. He opens his mouth. He closes it. He tries again. "Mrs. Hale," he says, "I am sorry. I should not have stepped in. I should not have rushed you. I will come back later. I will give Daniel time." I look at him. I am tired and I am gentle and I am also very clear. "You will give him time," I say. "We will speak after Christmas. We will bring a plan and a pen. Not tonight." He nods hard, like a schoolboy who has learned the rule. "Yes," he says. He backs away. He goes down the steps. He slips once and catches himself. He reaches the sidewalk and disappears into the dark with his shoulders hunched against the cold. We go inside. Daniel shuts the door and locks it. He leans his head against it and breathes out like he has been holding in a storm. Emma takes the envelope from my hand and presses it to her heart, then gives it back. I put it deep in the suitcase and latch both latches tight. I test them. They hold. "Now," I say, "hot cocoa." We carry our cups to the couch. The children sit close. We talk in quiet voices about simple things to calm our hearts. We talk about the cookie man who tried to run away again. We talk about the angel on the tree who leans left. We talk about a puzzle we might do. The outside world feels far for a moment. Warmth fills the room like a soft blanket. Then the phone on the side table buzzes. It is Daniel's phone. He forgot to silence it. He glances at the screen and frowns. Unknown number, he says. He almost lets it go to voicemail. Then he looks at me, at the suitcase, at the white envelope, and he answers. Hello, he says. A man's voice fills the room. It is crisp and careful. Good evening. Is this Daniel Hale? Yes, Daniel says. This is Officer Reed from the Citibank Fraud Unit, the voice says. My stomach drops. He continues. We received a notice minutes ago about a very large charitable transfer tied to your family name. There is a possible claim against the donor's estate that could freeze all related funds tonight. We need to confirm the status of the document you hold and the location of its bearer at once. Daniel stares at me. Emma's hand finds mine. The children look from face to face, trying to read our eyes. The room is silent again. The voice on the phone repeats, steady and official. Sir, do you have the certificate in your possession, and is the bearer, a Margaret Hale, safe at your address right now? We need to send an officer to secure the document for review. I feel the weight of the little suitcase by my feet. I feel the tiny sting on my finger where the paper cut me. I feel the whole night tilt again, like a sled on a steep hill that is just about to slide. Daniel swallows. He looks at me. I nod. He lifts the phone back to his ear. Yes, he says. We have it. She is here. Do not let it leave your sight, Officer Reed says. I am 5 minutes away. The call ends. For a heartbeat no one moves. Then Lily's small voice breaks the silence. Grandma, she whispers, are we going to lose the surprise? I pull her close. I kiss the top of her head. I do not lie to her. I choose truth and hope. I do not know yet, I say. But we will stand together and we will not be afraid. The red and blue lights from a car turn the window into a moving painting. They flash against the angel on the tree and make her look like she is breathing. The siren dies as the car stops at the curb. A heavy knock hits the door. 3 sharp knocks. Boom, boom, boom. Daniel stands. He looks back at us. His hand goes to the lock. He turns the deadbolt. The door begins to open. The policeman stands in the doorway, snow dripping from his hat, radio crackling at his shoulder. The red and blue lights outside turn the whole room into moving colors, blue on the tree, red on the walls, blue again across Daniel's face. Good evening, he says. I'm Officer Reed. I need to speak to Mrs. Margaret Hale. I rise slowly from the couch. That's me, I say. Please come in out of the cold. He steps inside, careful not to track snow on the rug. Ma'am, I'm here to confirm a report from the Citibank. They said you might be in possession of an envelope related to a pending charity fund. There's a legal hold on that account. Until the donor's claim is cleared, any related document has to stay with the authorities. Daniel stiffens. Is this about fraud? Officer Reed shakes his head. Not exactly. The original donor, Mr. Wilton, passed away last week. His estate lawyers filed an injunction this morning. There's a relative disputing the charity's transfer. It doesn't mean you'll lose it, but we must secure the certificate until it's settled. I glance at the suitcase by my feet. That envelope is a gift I meant to give my family. It was meant to help them and our town. Now you're saying it might be taken. He nods kindly. Just for review, ma'am. I'll give you a receipt. Once the estate clears, the bank can reissue the fund. But if it's lost or altered, it could delay everything. The children huddle close to Emma. Their eyes are wide. Lily whispers, Grandma, is the man taking the surprise? I kneel and hold her hand. Only for a short time, sweetheart. Surprises that are good always find their way back. Officer Reed opens his notebook. Can I see the document, please? I unlatch the suitcase. The paper lies inside, neat and white. I hand it over carefully. My fingers hesitate a moment before letting go. The officer slides it into a plastic folder. He signs a form and gives Daniel a yellow carbon copy. I'll take this straight to the bank vault, he says. You'll be contacted after the holidays. Thank you, I whisper, though my heart feels empty. He nods and turns to leave. Snow swirls in as the door opens. Merry Christmas, he says quietly, and then he's gone. The silence he leaves behind feels heavy. The lights from the tree blink softly like tired eyes. No one moves. Finally, Daniel speaks. Mom, I don't even know what to say. Every time we try to fix something tonight, something else happens. I sit down again. That's life, son. Sometimes the lesson hides in the middle of the storm. Emma wipes her eyes. But what if the money never comes back? Then we still have what matters, I say. We still have each other, and that's something no one can freeze. Lily climbs onto my lap. Grandma, she says softly, if we lose the money, can we still help people? I smile. Yes, we can always give love, even when pockets are empty. For a while, the house grows quiet again. The snow outside thickens. The tree lights glow warm against the window. It feels peaceful, almost too peaceful. Daniel makes tea. Emma hums a Christmas tune to calm the children. I lean back, closing my eyes, grateful that we are safe. But peace never lasts long on nights like this. A few minutes later, headlights sweep across the front wall again. This time, it's not a police car. Two dark vans stop at the curb. Three men in suits step out, not wearing uniforms, but their movements are sharp, quick. One carries a briefcase. Another holds a phone to his ear. Daniel notices them first. Mom, he says, voice low, are you expecting anyone else? No, I say, uneasy. Why? They're walking straight to the porch. Emma pulls the children back. My heart beats faster. The doorbell rings. Not a soft chime, an urgent buzz, long and loud. Daniel opens the door halfway. Can I help you? The man with the briefcase shows a badge, not a police one but something with gold trim. Mr. Hale, we're representatives from the Wilton estate. That document Officer Reed collected, where is it now? Daniel frowns. He just left with it. The man's jaw tightens. He's not with us, he says. That officer isn't from the city bank. My stomach twists. What? He looks straight at me. Mrs. Hale, you've been targeted. Someone must have overheard your conversation or seen the envelope. That man is an impersonator. We're tracking his car now. Emma gasps. Daniel runs to the window and sees the police car lights fading into the snow. He took it, Daniel whispers. He took the envelope. The man pulls out a radio. Unit 7, we've got confirmation. Suspect posing as Officer Reed left Maple Street heading north. For a moment, no one speaks. Then the man looks at me again. We'll do everything we can to recover it, ma'am. But I need details. What exactly was in that envelope? Proof of the $32 million transfer, I say, my voice shaking. And my signature. He scribbles notes. We'll find it. Lock your doors and stay inside. We'll have a patrol outside all night. As they leave, Daniel closes the door slowly. He turns to me. Mom, if that envelope's gone. I stop him with a hand on his arm. It's paper, Daniel. Just paper. What it stood for, our hope, no one can steal that. But deep inside, I feel the sting of fear. That paper was more than a symbol, it was a promise, and now it's gone into the cold night. Snow falls harder. The children drift off to sleep on the couch. Emma lights a candle on the table. I stare at the flame, small but steady, and whisper to myself, the light always finds its way back. Outside, sirens cry again in the distance. The night isn't over yet. Morning comes gray and silent. The storm has covered the road, the gate, even the broken fence where the car had hit. I make coffee while Daniel stands by the window, waiting for a phone call. None comes. At 8 o'clock, the doorbell rings again. This time it's a real officer, his uniform neat, his badge bright. He holds a sealed folder. Mrs. Hale, he says, smiling. We recovered this near Pine Bridge. The suspect lost control on the icy road. The folder was found intact. He hands it to me. My hands tremble as I open it. The envelope is inside, dry and safe. The gold stamp still gleams. Daniel exhales a breath he's been holding for hours. Mom, you got it back. I nod, tears slipping down my cheeks. Yes, but not by luck. By grace. The officer explains that the man who took it had overheard our talk through an open window when the tow truck driver called it in. He planned to sell the information. Now he's in custody. After the officer leaves, I sit at the table, staring at the envelope. The house feels peaceful again. The children wake up and come running down the stairs, laughing, the fear forgotten. The smell of pancakes fills the air. Emma sets plates on the table. "Maggie, you should rest." "Not yet," I say. "There's one thing left to do." I open the envelope and look at the paper inside. My name, my family's name, the amount, the signatures, it's all there. I fold it back carefully and slide it across the table to Daniel. "This isn't just money," I say. "It's a test. Use it to fix what's broken, but never forget the night it almost slipped away. Promise me that." Daniel nods, eyes shining. "I promise." Lily climbs into my lap. "Grandma, what's the lesson of our Christmas surprise?" I smile and kiss her forehead. "The lesson, my dear, is simple. Love given from the heart is the real treasure. Money can buy a roof, but love builds a home." Outside, the snow begins to melt. Sunlight touches the windows. The angel on the tree stands straight now, almost as if someone invisible had fixed her during the night. We sit together, eat breakfast, and laugh again. The world feels right, not because of the millions, but because we've remembered what really matters. As I look out the window, I whisper to myself, some surprises are worth waiting for, but some are worth losing first, just to find the truth inside them. And for the first time that Christmas morning, I feel truly at peace. Now tell me, if you were in my place, would you still knock, or walk away? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the next chapter.